Hi, Jan here. I just wanted to jump on very quickly and say Happy New Year. It's 2023, we made it this far. And just wish everybody a very happy New Year. Hope you've all had a wonderful holiday season and you've done everything that you wanted to do and done it the way you wanted to do it. And are all looking forward to what exciting things the new year brings. I mean, we know there's going to be challenges ahead, there always are, but let's face them head on with enthusiasm and whatever we face things with. Sorry, I've been sitting in the other room trying to think what I needed to say, and already my head's just mashed. I hope nobody's got hangovers today. We don't drink, so that's not my problem at all. We didn't go out partying or anything last night. We normally just have a very quiet New Year, and we watch the fireworks on the TV, you know, the amazing displays they have on at the Thames in London and all the other countries. They normally show us everybody else's from Australia right the way through. But last night I'd gone into the lounge to watch the fireworks with Neil on the TV, but at the stroke of midnight, all the neighbours, not all of the neighbours obviously, but loads of the neighbours started letting off fireworks. And I just thought, rather than watching them on TV, the home fireworks these days are just so good that I'd rather just watch the real life ones rather than the filmed ones. So I just sat right next to the window. I had Bear in the chair next to me and we were both watching them. Echo was stood right up with her little nose up to the patio doors trying to see as much as she could. And Chester's not as fond of fireworks, so he just put himself to bed. He's got a bed under the stairs and that's his safe, happy place, and so he just puts himself to bed if there's loud things going on. But luckily all of our dogs are okay about fireworks. You know, our last two Labradors used to love them so much. If the weather was good enough, we'd just open the patio door and they'd just go and sit in the garden and just watch them. And I think Echo would have done as well, but it was pouring with rain, so couldn't let her do that last night. It was a little bit chilly, so I'm sorry for anybody who was hoping for a good firework party last night and got rained off. But anyway, so last night a friend of mine was texting me and saying, what are your New Year resolutions? And I never make any. And there's a very good reason for that, because I've had many New Years now, and I've learned from experience that for me personally, making a New Year's resolution is just setting myself up to fail before the year's even begun. Because I don't think there's ever been one that I've followed through for the whole year. So nowadays I don't make them. Every single day I get up and I have the intention of all the things that I want to achieve in that day, and I've got my lists. I'm a huge list maker, and I do all the lists of all the jobs that I want to do under all sorts of different categories of things that I want to do them. And to me it's a good day if I've ticked off some of them. You know, I don't think I can remember a time when I've actually completed a whole list, which is part of the reason why I don't set myself up these big resolutions for New Year's Day, you know, for the coming year ahead. Some people have been on YouTube been talking about doing a no spend January. And I did think about doing that, but decided against it because Neil's got a very big birthday on the 17th of January. And I thought, if I decide to do a no spend, then that kind of kills anything to do with his birthday. And that wouldn't be fair on him. And these things tend to be my decisions rather than his. So with the birthday, I've been saying to him since I had mine, which was quite a long time. It's his. Okay, let's be real here. I doubt if he'll watch this. I'll let you into a secret. He's going to be 50. when I had my 50th, I had a major event, but that was something that I organised, and at the end of it I said, because it was wonderful, I said, if you want to do something similar, then you've got to think, or something completely different. You've got to decide what it is you want to do and plan it and organise it, because otherwise it will never turn out the way that you want it. And he hasn't, and he said that all he really wants to do is maybe go out for a film. He likes to go to the cinema, so maybe go to the cinema. Not even sure if there's a film that he really wants to watch. I said, why don't we go out for a meal? You know, we could go out and eat out. But either of those things aren't what I would call cheap, you know, because I'm a bit of a skinflint. So, you know, to my mind, they are treats rather than everyday things. So the plan was that we would do one of those two things, so that kind of kills the no spend January. But then I suddenly thought, well, as it is a big birthday, because we don't normally do gifts for each other either, and the reason for that is very early on we were buying each other presents, but I kind of prefer to buy, if there's something that I want, I'd rather go out and buy it for myself and choose it for myself, so I get the exact one that I want. And if it's something that somebody else has chosen for me, it's 9 times out of 10 something that I don't want at all. And then I feel really, really bad when people give me gifts that I know that they've spent a lot of their money on, and you know, time to get the gift, and then it's something that I don't want. So going right back about 25 years even, I started saying I don't want any presents. Please don't buy me anything, because I don't want it. I have everything that I could possibly want, and if I wanted something I would like to choose it for myself, so please don't buy me anything. And so Neil and I for almost the whole of our time together have not given each other's gifts. But this year I'm thinking, it is his 50th, perhaps I should do something. And then I suddenly thought, there is one thing that I know that he does really want, because he's wanted it ever since I made mine. It's something that I have to make for him, because it's not something that I can buy. So I have decided to make a cloak for him. And mine, I was very, very lucky. I bought a bolt of wool cloth from a car boot sale for, I think it was about £5 years ago. Like I say, over 20 years ago. Well over 20 years ago actually. And so made mine for pennies, literally. And Neil has always wanted it, but because it's so expensive to go out and buy the fabric brand new, we've just never got round to buying it, and I've never got round to making it. He has a cloak, but it's just not as good as mine. So this time I thought, no, I'm going to buy him I'll buy everything that we need and I'll make it for him. And it's turned out to be way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. You know, bearing in mind that mine was a bargain one all those years ago. This has turned out to be, cost probably 20 times more than mine did all in. And it's going to take a bit of work to make it. But I thought, no, I will do this. It's the one thing that I can do to celebrate such a big birthday. So I've ordered the fabric, I've ordered the lining, I've ordered the clasp for it, I've got everything on its way. But because it's meant that I've spent more than I intended to, instead of a no spend January, we're just going to have a low spend January, because I wasn't expecting to pay out the amount of money that I did. But it's always been our way that if there is something that we get that we really wanted and it's a big expense, then we do what we call a baked bean month, which is just a case of we will just cut right back on everything that we possibly can, and I call it a baked bean month because it's just a case of, right, it's baked beans for dinner every day because they're cheap. So fortunately for Neil this month, because I have such huge preps, it won't be baked beans every day. We can eat very well for a month without spending a penny, but it does mean that we're just going to have to cut back on things that we would have otherwise spent out money on. So if anybody would like to see a video of that cloak coming together and being made, then pop a comment below and I'll film that for you. It's not going to be an easy job because there's such an enormous amount of fabric involved, and it needs kind of a lot of table space. So when I do something big like that, then I'll put up I've got two 6 foot long folding tables. I'll put them both up next to each other to make like a 6 foot square table, and then try and make it from that. But of course the other problem that I've got there is that the only room in the house that I can do that in is the lounge, and with the black wall, Bear, our big white dog, sheds like you wouldn't believe. So there's no way that we can actually make the whole cloak without it getting hairs all over it. And Neil does know that I'm making it, because I thought there's no way that I can actually make it without him noticing. Like I say, I've got to have that space in the room. I'm going to need him to move the sofa back so that I've got back towards the wall, so I've got a big central space, and it's too heavy for me to move. So he's going to want to know what I'm doing in there, and also because it's for him, he's going to have to try it on so that I know the length and things. So for all manner of reasons, it's not a surprise, but that will be the fabric should be coming sometime this week, and then I've got until the 17th to have it made. So if you want to see that, then pop a comment down below. Not a New Year resolution, but something that I'm planning to work through is I've got a whole list of videos that I have promised to make and need to be making. There's more in the series of Pagan, my Pagan memoirs as it were. I need to do a second part to the Why I'm a Prepper, because I only got halfway through the story last time. I want to talk a little bit to you about my being frugal. You know, so that's a whole other video, and you know, as I say, there's a whole list of things, and plenty that I've got plenty of material in terms of what to make videos about. And of course, this is another thing that I'm always saying, is I do need to learn more about the actual editing of things. And at the moment I'm still at the stage where I can set the tripod up, I can actually get the camera on it, I can look at it and talk to it, I can get it onto the laptop, I can get it up onto YouTube. I used to do it via my iMac, but now my iMac is so full that it won't accept any new videos, and for some reason old iMacs you can't take all the stuff off. I don't understand it all, but the problem is when you've got severe brain damage, you never know if it's you or the software or the computer itself, that if you've got an issue with those sort of things. So I'm running on antiquated iMac and laptop as well. They're both very, very old. So I do the best I can with very old equipment, but happily say that the camera that I'm using is quite modern and new, so that works well enough. So they're things that I hope to be doing over the coming months, but I don't have any big hopes or big projects apart from that. I'm waffling away, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to get on and just say Happy New Year, and just say, you know, because it's New Year's Day today, just hoping that, because we're going to be past the holidays soon, we're going to be back into normal everyday life, and just say I hope you have the most wonderful 2023. Okay, take care, lots of love, bye.